Just before the video starts, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you! So if you haven't already watched it, I released part 1 of the Shorter Summit series last week. So go back and watch that one to see us arrive into Mumbai, journey by train up to Vadodara, and then arrive to the start line. And begin the journey north as we head through Ahmedabad, Himmatnagar, before arriving into Udaipur just in time to miss this downpour. If you've already watched episode 1, let's hop right in. How are we feeling about turning off the highway, guys?
I'm really excited.
Yeah. Let's go local.
After spending the prior 3 days cycling from Ahmedabad to Udaipur solely on highways, it's safe to say we felt more like truckers than cycle tourists. We made a group decision on a slight detour that might take a bit of extra effort but would recharge our batteries a bit and give us time away from the highway, if only for a couple hours. Samo hadn't been feeling the best either, so it was top priority to try and get her recovered as well. How are we doing this morning, Samo? Much better. Fingers crossed we can get Samo better as well. So this is the first time we've been off the highway in a while. We have headed down this little side path and we're just in this little town square. Guy in a moped guided us down to this place with some breakfast, which was absolutely awesome. We've had a couple of chais, had a little chill. I think we were all flat this morning. We were all a bit down, but this side road has perked us up. We've had lots of interactions with the local cows. As Mahil said, we feel less like truckers now. We have finished our ride into Rajsaman, boiling hot. So we followed a local man that we met under a bridge, that is a real sentence, to a local lake. And we're gonna go for a swim, aren't we, Chris?
Yeah, there's fish in here as well. They're amongst a lot of rubbish, but...
See how this goes. It's warm. Oh.
Also, it's not even refreshing. I think just keep your head above the water.
Shorts.
Oh. Better or worse?
Not super warm, you know?
A way to cool off.
So we are up early again, up at 4:30. We're on the road at 5:30. The day yesterday was easier, but searching for hotels is really taking it out of us. I think we got turned down by 10 places yesterday. We get to the point of negotiating a price and then handing over passports. They start walking around calling their boss, telling us no. I very quickly wanted to explain that we never fully found out why we got turned away so much. But it was a problem the moment we left Mumbai. The minute they realised we weren't from India, it seemed to cause issues. We believe the crux of this was to do with a form that needed to be filled out by foreign visitors for the police. We think sometimes the hotels didn't have access to the forms, or just didn't want the hassle of filling them out. It was a real mixed bag, and as I said, really frustrating because we never fully understood the why. Anyway, just wanted to explain that quickly. Back to the video. It's just really draining in the midday sun after a ride. You just want to check in somewhere and just have a shower and grab food, and instead you end up walking around for like an hour or 2 hours just trying to find somewhere. So quite demoralizing towards the end of the day, but we found a place. It wasn't the best, but we did it. See what today holds. Another highway day. Morning, Sammy.
Whoever sees Starbucks.
What? You want a Starbucks? This doesn't look like Starbucks.
Sam has a 1,000 rupee reward out to the person who sees the Starbucks. So after an incredibly fast 90-kilometer ride from Rajsaman to Bhilwara, Mahil and I called off in some shade and immediately a crowd began to build. It turned out a local biker gang had called their leader, who had hightailed it over to help us out. He drove me around in his moped to help us find a hotel, and once we got booked in, guided us to this incredible restaurant for lunch. We then chilled out for the afternoon before the family came back over and gave Mahil and Sam some tips for the mountains ahead.
How are you going, big boy?
We're going to the pizza. Oh shit. They would not let us pay a penny for dinner, and they then gave us a lift to the hotel in the back of a pickup. Then in the morning they woke up insanely early to come and meet us on the outskirts of the city.
These are our friends up ahead, guided us into Bilwara yesterday, took us out for dinner, fed us, gave us a hotel. Now they are come to say hello this morning, out on their bikes. Absolutely incredible. The hospitality friendliness is just awesome. Wow, can't believe it.
Good morning! See you guys. Thank you for meeting us.
Good morning. How you doing?
Well, good.
So we're powering on a little bit today. We're pretty much going for a full-on 90k, which means I'm trying to keep him refueled as we go. So quite fun actually. I'll stop, I'll pull over, get some bananas, get some drink, and then there's a Tour de France style resupply on the move. Drink first.
By the end of the day, we had the Tour de France style handovers perfected, although I'm not sure professionals put this many things in their mouth.
Smile, buddy. 90k down, and we're about to settle down for a midday temple nap. We get used to this.
Unfortunately, after Michiel and I's Tour de France handovers and very quick 90-kilometer ride, we'd split up from Chris and Sam, and the lurking illness that Sam had been dealing with struck hard. Michiel and I waited for them in the small town we were in, but Samo was in a bad way. Once they caught up, we found a place to stay for the night, but after another rough night's sleep, Samo decided that it would be best for her to get to Jaipur and to a hospital. So the team split up. Michiel and Chris would continue riding to Jaipur, and I would stay with Samo to help her get to the hospital in the big city. Sam was a trooper through this stretch, as we cycled 15 kilometers to get to the nearest bus stop, where we convinced the bus driver to take us and our bikes. This meant the bikes were up on the roof for the next 4 hours, which coincidentally led to 4 hours of stress. Mainly for me though, as Samo conked off. Once we arrived into Jaipur, we checked into a hotel and then went straight to the hospital for Sam. The minute she was hooked up to machines and was having some medication, I think the severity of it all came crashing down to her, as she realised how bad she truly was. But that does not mean she was happy about being told she had to stay overnight.
You got a message for the boys, Samo?
With that message given to her, I left her resting at the hospital and cycled back to the hotel, where a random car pulled up, and Harsh, the mystery driver, invited me to a joyride around Jaipur the next morning at 5 a.m. on a rest day. So of course I said yes. The next morning, absolutely knackered, I chucked on some clothes and stumbled downstairs, not really knowing what I'd gotten myself into. I sat back and enjoyed Jaipur's pink-tinged streets, which I fell in love with instantly. We headed north past the stunning Jal Mahal, where the real fun started as we headed into the hills. We headed up them like we were auditioning for the Tour de France. The sun was barely up yet and I was already sweating buckets. We pushed on towards the hill forts which overlook the city, and at the top we took in the views which are worth all of the effort. The descent back down to the city was a roller coaster ride, but before we headed back to Jaipur, we took a detour to the mind-boggling Amber Palace. After our morning ride, we arrived back into the city where we grabbed a quick coffee before I said goodbye and returned to the hotel, still buzzing from this unforgettable experience. This is why I love cycle touring. The boys arrived in later that day, and I loved the ride with Har so much that I invited them to do it all over again. Michiel opted to take his rest day rather than climb 300 meters uphill, which I don't blame him for, but I managed to convince Chris. So we headed back up the following morning, but this time with a camera and a drone. I mean, look at these views. After 2 nights in the hospital, Samo finally rejoined the group.
You might have to carry me.
I can carry you. Do you still need the toilet a lot?
and we spent the next day doing some touristy things around Jaipur. Undoubtedly the most interesting was the Hawa Mahal, also known as the Palace of Breeze. It was built in 1799 as an extension to the royal palace and allowed the royal ladies to watch processions along the street without being seen. By this point in the trip we had attracted a few crowds of our own, but whilst in the palace we managed to catch one of them organically on camera. As I said, at this point we were used to the attention, so much so that Chris, Sam and I decided to put on a show for the onlookers. So here's our catwalk. After 4 days in Jaipur for Sam and I, and 2 rest days for the boys, we knew we had to keep moving. But Sama wasn't well enough to keep riding, and to recover properly she needed to escape the heat. The group decided it would be best for her to head north into the mountains to wait for Mahil and recover, whilst Chris and I would support Mahil as far north as we could before our flight back to the UK. Following morning, it was time for the group to say some goodbyes. Last video of the team together, guys. Everybody say hello.
Hello. Hello.
It's a sad time. We have a new team member though. This is Sam 2.0. Right, let's go.
I'm looking forward to seeing you again. He has to film it. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a forced hug.
Yeah.
Come on then, Samo. Make it a good hug, it's on camera. And then there were 3 on the road again. Time to get out of this crazy city. Let's go. Join me next week to watch the journey continue. Please remember to like and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow. Thank you!